Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Ripple and XRP as well as the vast majority of crypto and finance. So with that being said, let's just dive in and let's start off with this tweet. So one of the largest narratives that has been really in the spotlight as of recent is de-dollarization, what the BRICS are doing, and ultimately what's happening around our payment infrastructure. Now, yes, you could easily argue that the US is falling behind and that de-dollarization is at the highest point ever in time and that the dollar is going to collapse next week. The truth of the matter is, and I even said it many times in the past when I did talk about what the BRICS are doing and de-dollarization as a whole, I said that this is going to take some time. It's probably going to take many years, but I've also talked about what I can possibly see happening around de-dollarization in this new financial system. It would be idiotic to argue that there isn't a new financial system or at least new financial technology that will disrupt and ultimately bring us into a new age of the financial infrastructure that we have today. And I mean a global financial infrastructure as well. In my opinion, I do believe that crypto is at the heart of that. In fact, I think that digital rails are going to be the ones that we will be utilizing from, I would say, if I had to give a good estimate, like 2030 on, and I only say 2030 to be conservative. This is happening at a real-time basis right now. We know that FedNow is launching in July, so July could very well put everything into motion. So it could be 2023 on, but nonetheless, there's a lot of ways that you could look at this, especially around the SEC case. A lot of people believe that the SEC case is fake. A lot of people think that the SEC case was here to slow things down. Nonetheless, if we really kind of look at what's happening, I don't believe that the US is just sitting stable and saying, all right, let's just fall behind. Let's just let, things happen outside of the US and let's just kind of lose the US dollar's dominancy. I don't think that that's the case, right? Now, yes, a lot of nations are pushing back against the dollar at a very rapid pace. But I do believe that the US has a plan, and I will talk to you guys a little bit about that here in a second. But we do see Justin, US Treasury exploring digital dollar as private and anonymous for retail transactions. Secretary Yellen testified in House Financial Services Committee to raise concerns of regulatory gaps in spot markets and stablecoins. And then CoinGraph went on to summarize all of this, talking a little bit about a federal prudential framework around crypto, which she mentioned many times in the past. And if you did watch yesterday's midnight video, then you probably already know that I talked to you guys a little bit about the FSB and the IMF and the BIS all working together on this global harmonized approach. And guess who also gave their guidance? Ripple. Also, over here are the major nations really kind of moving back against the US dollar. Now, again, there's been a lot of nations. I think it's like 20 plus now, and it just keeps growing, right? And again, I like to go against the herd. And at this point in time, everyone is expecting the US dollar to collapse next week. Everyone thinks that, de-dollarization is in full effect and that the US is finished and all this kind of stuff. But remember, right, the FedNow service goes live in July. There's a lot of things happening around the US financial economy. What do you see? Justin, Egypt to settle trade with China, Russia, and India in local currencies, ditching the US dollar. Now, do I think that the US dollar is at a very crucial area right now? Yes, I do. I've said it many times in the past that I do think that the US dollar is on the edge. And this is also why I said that the US needs to move very fast. I think that they see this, and I think that they are. I think that this is why FedNow is coming out in July. I think that there's a lot of plans behind the US to really kind of usher in a lot of things around the financial sector to streamline and enhance the US rails. But the biggest thing about all of this is the concern for the banking sector, because I don't believe that banks are going to survive FedNow. Why do I say that? Because FedNow streamlines every single deposit, every single withdrawal. And imagine, and I know that there's a limit of $100,000 on each transaction, but imagine, 100 plus people or even 1,000 plus people or 1,000,000 people going to their bank tomorrow to withdraw $100,000, and it's an immediate transaction that settles immediately. There's not enough money in the US financial system to cover all deposits as it stands right now. There is $19 trillion roughly in net deposits in banks. The FDIC can only cover up to I think it was like $182 billion worth or something like that. So again, like if we look at that, if we do see the banks start to collapse at high rates because of a streamlined 24/7 365 service going live, I wonder what will usher in after the fact. They will utilize that as an example for a CBDC system. The question is that their plan? We have no idea until things go fully live. We have to wait and see. But everyone, and I mean everyone, is still focused heavily on de-dollarization. What do you see over here? How does de-dollarization occur? Two ways: gradually, then suddenly. And here we have Asian central banks to adopt Iran's SWIFT alternative as de-dollarization accelerates. And yes, this continues to be a big narrative, but guess what? I'm going to talk to you guys about something very interesting here in a second, but I do want to share with you guys Circle, right? The CEO and co-founder of Circle, Jeremy Allaire, actually had a testimony which highlighted that the dollar is at a crossroads and that currency competition is now technology competition, stressing that the primacy of the US dollar is geopolitical affairs is being increasingly challenged. And listen closely to this.
Back in the late 90s and early 2000s, we went through an intense hype cycle and then a dramatic crash in the development of the web. There were total losses, scams, and frauds. A combination of proactive policy and private sector development led to a period that made America the uncontested technology leader. We're in a similar moment today, but we don't have the luxury of time. The tech capability gap that existed then has now been closed by China. The dollar is at a crossroads, and currency competition is now technology competition. I ask all of you, as members of Congress, to consider this moment. Ask what value system we want to enshrine in law, and how do we safely and deliberately unleash the creative forces of US-led technology innovation. Back in the late 90s and early...
And, you know, I've said it as well, you know, we're basically at the internet boom around this new financial system. And it's going to take some time. Listen, it took roughly, I think it was like 10, 12 years for Amazon, Apple, Google, and all of the major stocks to just break even from the dot-com bubble crash. And then it took a couple other years for it to actually finally create new all-time highs and, you know, continue to give profits to those that did buy at least the top of the dot-com bubble. So if you think about that, right, like, you know, could we be 12 years away if we have regulations come to this space? No, I don't think so, right? But I do think that we are at an inflection point around technology where, you know, this is the next evolution of payments. This is the next evolution of our financial system. And it's happening in real time, and it's happening at a very fast pace. Yet most people are being distracted by things outside of the scope. They're not looking beyond these narratives. De-dollarization and the pushback against the dollar is only another thing to accelerate the push towards crypto and blockchain technology. If we look over here, so ISO20022, let's do it over on Twitter, posted PSA from Ripple and the Federal US Faster Payments Council. The Faster Payments Council, I've talked about many times on this channel, and recently I made a video connecting all major players, or at least I shouldn't say all major players, but most of them that are working on these faster systems and the Federal Reserve payment system as well, the FedNow service, if you will, and I connected them to Ripple. I connected a lot of people from Ripple as well to the US Faster Payments Council. In fact, the individual from this video works at Ripple. Listen closely to this.
Hello, everyone. I'm Pat Thielen. I'm the Vice President of Global Account Management at Ripple. We truly believe that there is an internet of value coming, much like the internet provided with communications and email in the 90s and through the beginning of the millennium. Today, the payment system is advancing. And unlike a lot of the other crypto players in Ripple's space, we truly believe that the revolution is going to occur from within. So the ecosystem that the US Faster Payments Council has put together will be those players that will make sure we advance the industry. The working groups that are coming out, it's the cross-border, the QR, the directory model. These are really opportunities to take that user experience, the interoperability that has been designed in the other initiatives, and really apply it to real-world problems. Many countries have leapfrogged the US in real-time payments, so this is a real opportunity for us to leverage a body like this. The playing field is set, and you can either sit on the sidelines or suit up with US Faster Payments Council and change the game.
So yeah, I mean, listen, just like they said, all of the major players are working here to advance payments to allow for the system to become a reality. When you go over to the fedpaymentsimprovement.org website and you go to introducing the US Faster Payments Council, this literally breaks everything down around this group. They are focused on 3 major areas: supporting adoption of practices that enhance safety and security for service providers and users of faster payments, identifying, developing, and supporting guidelines and market practices that will address opportunities and emerging issues in an open and collaborative way, developing an education and awareness program to foster better understanding of faster payments. All centered out on, well, one thing: faster payments. And also, if we go over to the Faster Payments website and you look at their path to faster payments, ubiquity starts with you. Under this, you could see that they want to allow, here you guys have, they want to allow Americans to have a safe and secure way to pay anyone, anywhere, at any time, and with near immediate funds availability. The members use private sector approaches. Again, Ripple is a private company. They could easily utilize Ripple here. I'm not saying that Ripple's the chosen one that they are going to use, but there's a lot of pinpoints back to Ripple that could very well be confirmation of that. To address issues that inhibit adoption of faster payments and enable end users to reach each other in ways as seamless and transparent to them as mobile texting. Very interesting. But also, you know, from what I've seen around the US faster payments, it seems as though things are moving very fast around, you know, this faster payment infrastructure. I think that we're still years away of full global mass adoption and reach, but I do think that things are setting up to have that big boom like event. And I think that's going to be very exciting once things really go live. And then over here, we have the International Monetary Fund, the IMF. I did do a video slightly on this in the past, but this is talking a little bit about the financial market infrastructures. They're talking a little bit about innovative technologies, things like that. Ripple is mentioned 7 times within this document around infrastructures, around technologies, allowing for instant transfer. They're also talking about DLT within this, DLT-based platforms and things like that. Again, all of these players have been assigned specific roles, in my opinion. Ripple is almost on every single one of these documents around the IMF. And like I said, I included this in a video recently, I'm pretty sure. But if we look under like exchanges, these are the DLT platforms: RippleNet, IBM, World Wire Center, Stablecoin Network as well. But if we look at all of the documents going back in time, we're talking about from the BIS, from the IMF, the World Bank, you name it, Ripple is always mentioned. In fact, a recent article that, or I shouldn't say article, but document that came out from the FIS Global, which is working with Hedera. I've actually talked about this in the past. Here you guys have the announcement from them working with Hedera. There was a PDF file named Open Payment Framework, the foundation for our enterprise payments products and solutions. And this goes in depth on how we are modernizing payments infrastructure and why it is essential. They also do talk about their cloud native ISO 20022 base application delivers common reusable services that support a wide array of pluggable payment products. Now, one of those payment products, well, you already guessed it, Ripple. And it's mentioned under international payments. We also do see high value ACH payments, instant payments, which FedNow is under instant payments. No surprise there. And then payments order management. We do see a foundation for payments. And the interesting thing about this is like these are the giants that are in crypto heavy. They have partnerships already within crypto heavily. And they do realize the value behind instant payments. Instant payments is obviously the big deal. If you haven't noticed by now, almost every single major nation out there is looking at instant payments, how they could streamline payments. They want to have a facelift for their entire payment infrastructure. And it's only a matter of time until this does, happen. And it's going to be through names like FIS, Finastra, Accenture, that are helping this vision come to life. And I am focused on all of these players like the IMF, the BIS, even the Fed, right? The Fed has obviously been speaking out about faster payments for so long. Everyone is trying to, throw out these wild narratives around crypto to make people ignore crypto. But I think that right now is the best time to be in crypto because, again, like companies like FIS, which is, a company that enables 95% of the world's leading banks and also has $40 trillion processed on their asset management technology in just one single year. Like, this is a very large company to also watch for. And guess who they are, working with? That's right, crypto companies like Hedera. And this is centered out on, interoperability. And it's wild to me that most people are not focused on names like FIS because we should be. This is a giant around the space. They're obviously very bullish on crypto as well. But going over here, we do see from Ripple on how blockchain and digital assets can free up capital trapped in cross-border treasury flows. Listen closely to this video real quick, and then I will wrap things up with a last tweet from Ripple.
The primary pain points are around speed, reliability, transparency, and cost. So on the speed front, using traditional sort of archaic technology like Swift can take between, in some cases, 3 and 5 days for funds to settle. So that's a significant pain point. Reliability, you've got, oftentimes you've got errors and outages and so forth that can delay payments. Transparency, again, because of some of the limitations of the technology, you don't always know what the status of your payment might be using the legacy systems.
And again, the argument around Swift, will Ripple be the new Swift? The big thing about Swift is Swift could easily plug and play blockchain technology and Ripple technology, which would be the best case scenario. Ripple already said that they're not trying to replace Swift. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, if all of the players from Swift came over to Ripple, would they have a better experience? 100%. But the thing is that Ripple's overall goal is here to fix payments. They're doing that. If Swift wants to make payments faster, which they already did with GPI, that's fine. That's one less problem that Ripple needs to fix. But the problem is that they're not fixing settlement. Settlement is the biggest thing, right? Settlement around all of this, these networks like Swift, for an example, it's a crucial area of focus. Freeing up capital that's trapped within these treasury flows, the reason why instant settlement does not happen is because of that capital that needs to be, what happens is you have nostril vostro accounts, and almost every single institution needs to hold some sort of amounts from every single, major currency. And what happens is that when you make a payment from the US to, we'll just say the UK, right? US dollars and British pounds need to be allocated for that transaction. And it's a very lengthy transaction because it needs to have that settlement happen. And there's only one way to convert those currencies, and it needs to go through the institution. They need to, it's such a long process. But with crypto, you have all of that freed up. All of that capital no longer needed. You could have something like XRP sitting at the heart of that cross-border payment flow, being the settlement token, being the bridge currency, and it's a crucial thing. And it's a big deal. But most people don't think that it is, and that's totally fine. They can miss out on this massive revolution because most of you already know how big of a deal this is. And last but not least, obviously, Ripple is, they've been speaking on this for so long. It's time to transform finance and modernize payments with crypto. Cryptos provide secure and lightning fast rails to bring payments up to speed, reduce intermediaries, and improve capital flows. Let's explore some of the use cases and benefits. And this is also a big deal, right? Like most of these companies like Swift, or I shouldn't say companies, but networks like Swift, it's life or death, right? They need to innovate with crypto. And if they don't, they'll just fall behind and cease to exist. I strongly believe that. But also, businesses choose crypto for payments for a variety of use cases, including cross-border payments, remittances, SME, treasury, etc., payroll, domestic consumer payments. There is no shortage of benefits when a business chooses crypto for payments: lower cost, faster payments with real-time settlement, always on availability. And of course, here you have their article, Crypto for Businesses and Financial Institutions. And We already know what this is, right? So if we really kind of look at what Ripple's plan here is, they want to inject crypto within the financial system. That's always been their goal. They're working with some of the largest names out there already. We already know that a lot of the players from Ripple are already on the board with, for an example, the Faster Payments Council, which is also working with the Federal Reserve. Volante Technologies recently made a video on Volante Technologies and PDF files talking about how Ripple's product is at the heart of ISO 20022. It's crazy. It's wild because all of these companies have some sort of connect back to the Federal Reserve, back to some of the largest giants out there. We know Ripple is making a ton of noise in Australia. We know Ripple is making a ton of noise over in the UK. And I know things are taking time, but that is exactly why it is crucial to understand patience and understand that, listen, you should want it to take time. XRP hovering around 50 cents, 40 cents, 30 cents, it does not matter. Take the time to take a step back, realize where you are at right now in history around payments and financial technology, and, accumulate. Accumulate the largest bag you possibly can, not financial advice. That way, when $1 does happen, or $2 happens, or $5 happens, or $10 plus happens, well, you're set. You're set, and you set yourself up for incredible wealth. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. So it's up to you all. Have a beautiful day, beautiful night, wherever you guys are on this beautiful world. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.